Hi, welcome to Agribusiness Global Live. My name is Renee Targus. I'm the editor for Agribusiness Global and your host for today's webinar, China Update 2024, presented by David Lee. Before I talk more about David, I'd like to tell you about the Agribusiness Global LATAM Conference happening on May 14th and 15th in Panama City, Panama. It's a great opportunity for people in the crop protection and plant health industries to come together and network and learn about the opportunities and development that's happening in that region. So we'd love to see you there. If you are interested in learning more, please visit abglatam.com. A little bit about David. He is the marketing director and chief analyst for SPM Biosciences, which is a consulting firm for predictive analysis for the crop protection. They work with multinationals and distributors globally, and they're based out of Beijing, China. David is also an advisory board member for Agribusiness Global, and he is presenting at a lot of our conferences this year. And he also is a author of the China Price Index, which is published on agribusinessglobal.com. So if you haven't seen that, please check that out. And with that, David, I will hand this over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much for ABG to arrange such great opportunity for me to talk about the China Supply 2024. It's my pleasure to share some insight with all of audience. As a rising confirming firm from China, our team focuses on the area of database building, corporate strategic analysis, and the predictive analysis. Currently, we have established cooperation with many multinational companies and national distributors. We are very different as a chief analyst. As SPM Insight, I'm thrilled to share our conversation about the future. Before we talk about the China supply, let's briefly have a look at a trend in global agricultural cultivation in 2024. According to EIU, North America and Latin America will be affected by El Nino climate in 2024. Favorable climate conditions will have a positive impact on the recovery of the crop protection market. For North America and Mercosur countries, wet weather will favor crop cultivation. For the source of Latin America, a heavy rain may cause the delay of replanting and cause some loss for farmers. Overall, after 3 years of dry weather in countries such as Argentina, favorable weather in 2024 will result in good harvest in Argentina's growing regions. This will affect the price of grains, oilseed price stable low in this year. Brazil planting in the winter of 2023 was impacted by drought and dry weather. It is expected to affect the yield. Heavy rains in southern Brazil affected planting pace. The impact of El Nino weather on Brazilian planting is expected to continue through March 2024. The fact that the planted acreage in Brazil will continue to expand, it will somewhat offset the impact of unfavorable weather on the output of Brazil agricultural products. The EIU forecast prices for grains and oilseed to remain flat in this year. This is mainly due to the future North American production overlaid on a good Argentina harvest, having a dampening effect on global grain and oilseed prices. However, due to the lower pesticide AI prices from China, farmers' earning will be somewhat assured. Farmers' willingness to pay has improved accordingly. On the basis of this logic, the strategy of the buyers changed as well. The global channel is experiencing a shift from high inventory to destocking, and in-time delivery has becoming a new normal for procurement teams. Sourcing strategies are also shifting from high safety stock and high cargo availability to low stock and high cargo availability. This is mainly to reduce the cost of holding inventories and to cope with the challenges posed by the downturn of AI price in China. Back to China. In the context of the China pesticide export continued to decline, the Chinese pesticide business landscape is also undergoing profound changes. This affects our supply chain management in China. Let's see some details. At the beginning of the year of the dragon, China's leading pesticide companies had released companies' earnings forecasts of 2023. Among the companies, 40% of these pesticide companies were in red in 2023. Almost all pesticide companies has experienced a decline in performance compared to 2022. Only glyphosate companies with advantages in mineral resources can maintain considerable profit. Hebang and Xinfa are undoubtedly far ahead of other companies in terms of net profit contribution. Their with cluster advantage in the process upgrading ability also still maintain a profit of 85 to 89 million US dollars. Well, this fully demonstrates that to control the mineral resources, the whole industry value chain and regional cluster development are the key to reduce costs and improve profitability. For companies with strong R&D capability, competition is fierce due to the overcapacity in China's supply. And the low market prices for AIs had led to declining earnings. Process improvement alone is difficult to sustain cost reduction during the maturity of AI products life cycle. It must be supported by upstream controlling of raw materials cost. Therefore, in China's pesticide industry, the era of the strongest is coming. If we summarize the key factors of Chinese pesticide companies on poor performance, the following areas are the most often mentioned in list: low prices, reduced sales volume, destocking, fierce competition, and heavy asset investment in new products. Regarding strategies, pesticide companies in different categories are trying to make different changes. What I would like to share with you is a series of overseas strategies of Hebang. Hebang's main strategy of route to market is to deploy its production capacity overseas. At the same time, it also acquires overseas resources of upstream raw materials. Hebang acquired Australia phosphorus resources. It can ensure the normal operation of his overseas glyphosate production capacity up to 200,000 metric tons per year. Combined with its China domestic PMIDA production capacity construction around 500,000 metric tons per year, it supports both domestic and overseas glyphosate production. The control of the upstream mineral resources is also gradually being strengthened. It can be said that glyphosate enterprises with advantage of mineral resources, especially Hebang, have already taken the first step for Chinese enterprises to deeply lay out the overseas market. Among the many glyphosate producers, Hebang should be the most visionary and the most focused on the glyphosate supply. This is very rare among Chinese pesticide companies right now. Xinfa's strategy is different from Hebang. Hebang is mainly focused on increasing its profitability by expanding non-selective herbicide category. Its new 2,4-D capacity is progressing rapidly. But here is a question mark. Compared with traditional 2,4-D producers with process advantages, Xinfa's production stability and production efficiency may be the issue in the future for them. Meanwhile, Xinfa is also preparing to enter the L-glufosinate supply. It is also for expansion of the category. Another strategy is since China's listed companies of glyphosate have the availability of mineral resources and the capital operation. They are actively entering the new energy track of power battery and the energy storage battery. Xinfa and Winca are both getting into such track. In the category of whole industry value chain, the producer have the advantages of clusters and process enhancement. The companies would more often choose to expand the scale of the existing product categories to reduce the production cost. For example, they are expanding its flumioxazine and L-glufosinate production capacity, and they hope to dominate the supply market of these products because only the companies with the biggest capacity have the pricing power. However, for this type of company, the biggest weakness is the strategic shift. Since the company's investment in the whole industry value chain is already a sunk cost, the company cannot accept the possibility of trial and error if it wants to expand it into the new categories. As a result, such companies are relatively cautious about launching new products. Because of this, they need to reach out to the widest possible range of the customers in their existing product categories. Cooperating with everybody is usually the choice for their route to market strategy. Currently, in a somewhat awkward situation is the ability to improve the process in the category R&D enterprises. NutriChem is one of them. Many years ago, NutriChem had to abandon its Yancheng Nanfang production site in Jiangsu province for policy reasons. So recently, they have to invest a lot on the supply side. NutriChem, the weakness is mainly production pricing. For the early launch of the compound, like expiring patent molecules, they can fully production priced, but for the products in the maturity in the long tail stages, in complete competition market, it should be market pricing. The R&D team need to go backward based on the market price to make the process improvement to reduce cost and thus increase the profit. Among the categories, R&D category, the best performer over the past 3 years has been Hylier, which has done two things right in developing its product category. First, they choose the process console. At that time, Bayer did not launch these products into China, but they took the risk. The Hylier took the risk to expand. Secondly, Hylier chose international team to lead the company's overseas sales. Its Brazilian sales leader is their top gun. The Brazilian team developed a sales strategy that is tailored to the country and deep understanding of the Brazilian culture as well as market perspective can support the future success when it's registration granted. Here we can make a brief summary for Chinese pesticide companies. The most important issue in 2024 to 2026 will be globalization to face the challenges of the overcapacity. The globalization strategy of Chinese companies are summarized as capacity, brand, channel, culture, and technology. The most likely approaches are capacity or globalization, brand launch and investment on channel. Capacity globalization should be the primary strategy for them. Because of the biggest advantages of the Chinese enterprises is the large scale, flexible production, along with brand building and channel investment. At the same time, brands need a channel to undertake. Channel must use brand in order to obtain the differentiated market position. However, at present, the awareness of Chinese suppliers for channel investment and brand investment is behind the production construction. To be honest, the Chinese companies need to learn, but this window of time for learning will not be long. Technology will be the last step. Chinese formulation is as good as multinational, to be honest. But without the channel and brand, it cannot be delivered to farmers with value creation. One word we can use to describe the Chinese market in 2024 is long-term overcapacity. Let's use glufosinate as a case study here. According to Canitech, in 2021, global field consumption of glufosinate AI was only around 30,000 metric tons. Global demand for glufosinate is expected to reach 50,000 to 60,000 metric tons in next 3 years. But supply side of glufosinate in China just recently got a new supplier. Shandong Xinhecheng has built a new 60,000 metric ton capacity and will also enter into the production of L-glufosinate soon. And some glufosinate producer had to choose to search L-glufosinate production technology by outsourcing of glufosinate from low-cost capacity. Overcapacity cannot be changed overnight. What we can see is that some manufacturers will definitely quit in future. Therefore, capacity consolidation of suppliers will be happening in the China whole supply market. Overcapacity is also inevitable for new compounds that are about to expire the patent. It is difficult to distinguish between the true or false information in the current market. Well, many companies are simply trying to get buyers to list them into the suppliers list by advertising on certain website about the future capacities which they are building. In reality, however, it's likely that the company wants to go through the market feedback to decide whether to really invest in the production process. This requires the procurement team to have a more prudent attitude to investigate suppliers. We forecast that capacity for products listed here will be in place by around 2025. This is mainly due to the time it takes for Chinese suppliers to obtain Chinese registrations. However, the capacity of products like chlorantraniliprole and prothioconazole has been gradually released. And chlorantraniliprole, the price has gone down continually, and the current EXW price range is around $30 per kg. I just heard this information today. So the price war is happening. The supply of prothioconazole was previously concentrated in Liaoning Zhonghui and Haidier. Haidier registration in Brazil was processing very well, very smoothly. So as a result, the product has supported higher earning performance. However, the new suppliers of prothioconazole is being released. There are two companies that have the most advantage. One is CAC Nantong, which mainly utilizes upstream chlor-alkali resources. CAC Nantong also have an advantage in the starting materials of the synthesis due to its experience in natural process development. In addition, the company's process yield will be a little bit higher than the other companies as well. This allows them to remain the competitiveness in terms of the total cost. Well, another company is Hebei Chengxin. I always mention to my partners, if you want to source AI from China, the first station must be Hebei Chengxin in Shijiazhuang City. Hebei Shanli is a subsidiary company of Hebei Chengxin. Chengxin's core advantage is the production capacity of sodium cyanide and then initial raw materials in upstream. The upstream resources such as carbonyl chloride or sodium cyanide requires qualification inside of China, and there will be no more qualification issued by the central government. Such qualification is a scarce resources in the Chinese supply market. So therefore, the products produced by Hebei Chengxin basically have the price advantage all the time by the full upstream value chain. Entering the market through a low price strategy and taking market share quickly is a Euro competitive strategy of Hebei Chengxin. As for the future price trend of Chinese pesticide, is also a very hot topic and not very optimistic. The exchange rate of the Chinese yuan, sorry, is an important factor for external factors that may affect the price of the AIs from China. In general, there are three key factors that determine the Chinese yuan exchange rate. First, it is China's domestic economic fundamentals. These include the trade balance and the willingness of the enterprises to settle foreign exchange, foreign capital flows, and banks' own foreign exchange transactions. The second is external factors, mainly the US dollar index. Third one is the most important one is the determination and operation of the Chinese central bank for maintaining the China's financial stability. Well, the Chinese yuan exchange rate will be more supportive of the fundamentals in 2024. It will increase the elasticity. We expect that the US dollars against the Chinese yuan currency will still return to the 6.8 to 7 range in the second half of 2024. Because the current policy of China's central bank remains focused on ensuring the stability of the currency. Well, according to the Frito Baltic Index, the global shipping freight index is up 87.2% YOY February 2023. The global shipping freight index has risen since the beginning of the 2024 due to the volatility, the unstable status in Red Sea. So China's export containers transportation market maintained a stable trend before entering the traditional Chinese New Year. Although some routes are still facing a tense geopolitical situation, the impact on the shipping market has stabilized and the market has basically adapted to the current state. Well, regarding the future price trend of a pesticide inside of China, the judgment in the industry is basically consistent. China currently Chinese pesticide products will continue to hover at a low level for some time in 2024 due to the overcapacity and the reduced orders. At present, China economy is facing some difficulties, so the local government will support the local manufacturers to maintain the smooth production. So currently, if we see the glyphosate price as a case study, that we can see that in future, especially in 2024, the low stable price will be going on. And I think before the CAC exhibition, a lot of the companies will lower their operation rate because they cannot predict feedback from overseas. So they need to test the feedback from the customers. In the lower operation rate would bring some lower the storage in from Chinese companies. So the price trend will be a little bit rising when orders coming into China in very small procurement timing. So after a little bit increase of the price, and for long term, this price will be a little bit stable. The future China supply chain management, I think that's what I want to share with you. First, the overseas channels need to a deeper perspective on the future trend in Chinese supply, and understanding and analyzing companies can't be limited to the stories told by the sales managers of Chinese companies. Supply chain teams need to have a more comprehensive in very deep analysis of China supply patterns and price trend for their products. The second one is the distribution channels of the global crop protection industry are now trying to shorten the supply chain. For distributors, there is growing desire to establish new relationship and product availability directly with Chinese suppliers. So this is mainly to save purchasing cost. This new change may not affect the multinational companies very much, but for the generic companies, their third-party products supply will be challenged. The third one is overseas companies should follow the trend of the China capacity release and take the opportunity to cultivate the new suppliers with very high level loyalty to them. This may be very difficult for overseas distributors who do not have the team inside of China, but it is an executable strategy for established China sourcing teams. The fourth one is a strategy for managing suppliers. Many overseas sourcing teams do not educate or influence Chinese suppliers to match the Chinese company's overseas market development strategy with client product market strategy. So we are now practicing modularized innovation, and a catalyst is needed to accelerate the process of matching strategies between Chinese companies and overseas customers. At last, I think the most importantly, overseas distributors need to have the ability to do predictive analysis. This is a need to be forward thinking about China's supply. And overseas supply chain and team should be able to predict the industry landscape for the next 3 years or 5 years. By landscape, we mean that which company, which Chinese company support which global customers by which way, by which strategy. So this can be described that we can know that what kind of their future competitive advantages they will have. So investigate your competitors inside of China, in China's supply chain is very important as well. Due to the constraints, we will stop here today. So I hope I have give you a possibility to think about. So I also welcome you guys to have a more deep conversation with my team. Thank you very much. Thank you, ABG. Let me transfer my microphone back to Rini.
Thank you, David. Thank you. That was a great presentation. And so We've got quite a few people attending this, and we'd like to open it up to their questions right now. And we do have a question from someone posted already. The question is, how much time is considered, or what's the time sort of frame considered for the future of glufosinate?
Well, actually, as I mentioned in my presentation, overcapacity is a long-term situation in Central China. Glufosinate must be overcapacity for a long time. And during this time, I think some companies do not have the resources advantages will quit, will be phased out. You cannot choose everyone. This is my suggestion. You cannot choose everyone. You have to take the one who have the resources, advantages, and the process enhancement advantages. Choose the biggest one. To choose the strongest one. So this is the future.
Okay, great. It looks like we've had some people raising their hands. We're unable to have you speak. So if you could just put your questions in the Q&A, and then we can get those answered for you there. So we've got another question. What about, I'm not going to say these names, tubuconazole and propiconazole prices.
Oh,
Did we see any
you mean
correction?
propiconazole?
Yeah, yeah. Do you
Yeah.
it's do you see any correction in those prices?
Yeah. I beg your pardon. You mean the price corrections?
Yeah, it said the question is, what about tebu
Oh,
tibuconazole and
tebuconazole.
propiconazole prices? Do we see any correction in those prices? Sorry, I'm butchering those names. I apologize.
Well, for tebuconazole, I think it's, inside of China, we do not have the shortage of the supply, and I think big companies are sourcing from China, from big companies inside the China, like Liaoning Zhonghui also supply to the multinational companies, and currently, if you want to choose the we can see that the price will be not very good for a long term as well.
Okay. All right, great. Next question. Can you show us a brief interview of the capacity of generics?
You mean the total capacities?
Mhm.
I cannot give you that number as because of the total capacities currently. We got a lot of information from the market, but you can imagine that we have the Chinese companies during the past years have already invested around 10 billion,
Mhm.
10 billion US dollars in the capacities establishment. It actually during the after the environmental storm, Chinese companies have already invested a lot to Northwest. They moved from the coast to the land, and they have already invested a lot. But right now, someone choose to the north of China, and someone choose to south of China. We are seeing that like Hebei Chengxin, they started their business from intermediate. And some companies like Shandong Xinhecheng produce glufosinate. They produce amino acid before, and right now they want to choose to get into the agrochemical business. So we are seeing that in China, a lot of companies from the other track are getting into agrochemicals. So someone we didn't know before, some new guys come into this market. So in future, I think it's someone feel cautious about the future overcapacity. And in this morning, I attend the CCPI summit. We also mentioned that someone have already considered if they will have the advantages about the future capacity they want to establish. So before that, you have to understand, do you have the advantages? And you have to face on the some companies like Hebei Chengxin with raw materials advantages to compete with you in future. This is for sure. So currently inside of China, we do not think that India or over competitor. We compete with each other very deeply. So it's a very fierce competition in this market.
Okay, great, thank you. The next question is, what is the average margin for agrochemical producers?
It's a good question. It depends, sometimes if you say glyphosate, I think the 10% to 15% is the maximum. At least they need to maintain the 10% as the minimum profit margin. But for products like some new products, you can see that chlorantraniliprole, the price have already dropped from $40 to 20. So Chinese manufacturers still have the profit. So you can see that if you choose the product who launched the product initially very early, so of course the margin will be very big. So, but we do not think that in future the neo patent AIs will have good margin in future.
Great, thank you.
So the change will be very quickly. So if you consider about the margin from the 100% to 10%, this time period will be very, very short. So you have to test the pace about how to manage the supply.
Okay, great, thank you. Next question. Which new generics are gaining capacity buildup, and can you quantify?
Well, there's many, during my presentation, we have already listed some products. There, currently, I think is inside of China, every products are considered by Chinese suppliers, everyone. So for generics, we have the list. Maybe I can later I can write an article on for Agribusiness Global. We have a list that generic must be over capacity for long term. So we do not suggest some new players want to get into the production for this because the Chinese have very big advantages. But in future, if you talk about new products, I think it's everyone is considered by Chinese.
Great, thank you. Next question is, at an average, we have seen technical prices in 2023 being 20 to 30% lower than what they were in 2019. At these prices, are the Chinese manufacturers making money, or do you believe that they're losing money?
Currently, well, Chinese is good. Chinese manufacturers have to save the cost. Currently, they still have the margin, but they invest a lot. They invest on the scale. Everyone want to invest on scale so that they can balance their cost structures to have the much higher profitability. So if you think about this way, that they still have the profit, but a very low profit or some zero margin for some products for some time. But is it not a good thing for global buyers? You can think about that when the price is a little bit zero margin, that means the cargo availability will be low as well. Someone just calls you very low price, but maybe you have to wait for long term to get the cargo. So it's also a balance, when to purchase. You have to take the risk right now and to have the cargo availability very strong. You can go right now, but if you want to follow the trend and just wait to the last time, to the deadline, you have to take the risk for cargo shortage. But till now, that the shortage shall be very short term, because of Chinese manufacturers currently is lowering their operating rate for sure. But when the orders coming from overseas, the Chinese manufacturers can adjust it very quickly.
Great, thank you. All right, so for this next question, I'm going to butcher these the names, and I apologize for the person who wrote this question, but if you don't understand me, we'll answer it on the blog. So is there an overcapacity for Cyhaloflop or Bice back in China? Did you understand those chemical names?
I want to, which one you choose? Maybe we can talk about this by
On the
emails
blog?
or
Uh,
something. Yeah,
yeah, okay. I'm sorry about that, whoever asked that question, but we will get that answered in the blog. So please look for that answer. All right, next
yeah.
question. Could you talk about price and supply capacity for glufosinate during this year?
Uh, well, for glufosinate, I do not think the price will keep stable. Currently we are seeing that glufosinate is the pricing is very weak, and new players are getting into this market, and we think that the competition will be stronger than ever. For this year, if you see that the competition it will become more serious because when the new demand from US or Latin America, everyone want to have the orders, but they are not eager, to decrease into to the bottom line. Sometimes you can see that when you have the quotation from Chinese suppliers, the price could be a little bit stronger, stable at low position. So it's a bargain or a process between you and the Chinese suppliers. So I think the negotiation will be very tough in this year. You know, uh, currently Chinese price is very cheap. What they want is to have the bigger orders from overseas to balance their total earnings. So the cash flow will be very important for them. Uh, so I do not think that the price will going up, at least because of the overcapacity. It's very serious in these products.
All right, thank you. Next question. Do you believe the Chinese manufacturers are currently being subsidized by the local government in the form of capital subsidy or OPEC subsidy?
I think there's some capitals coming from local government because of but they are not a state-owned company. Some local government have the support to local companies, and currently, the license is production license is controlled by the local government. So there's no need to approve by the central government. So every area, every local government want to have their economic growth. So the good companies, and if they need money, they will support to use the local bank to support them. So it is for sure. And also during the COVID-19, a lot of people see that strong demand from overseas. So they made a mistake, as I mentioned to the Chinese agrochemical industry as well. They do not understand what happens in global market. So when they see the strong performance of the agrochemical business in 2021 to 2022, and they invest a lot. But right now, there's the only way to go to use the capitals in China economy. We just get out of the real estate economy and the virtual economy. Currently we are focusing on the manufacturing economy in future and innovation. So the local government surely have some support to local producers. If they do not support, they cannot survive.
Great, thank you. I think this question is a follow-up question to one of the answers that you gave previously. It says roughly how much percentage of that 10 billion is replacement capacity moving away from populous centers and close to rivers?
I'm sorry.
The question is how much percentage-wise of the 10 billion is
Mm-hmm.
replacement capacity moving away from populous centers and close to rivers. And I think that had to do with the investment that you had talked about before, I believe.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me to give you the exact number. But currently, I think the production site inside of China, I do not think the northwest of the capacity have the strong advantages, you know. But currently, we are seeing that the more investment is in north of China, in the Huludao area, and some in Zhejiang province. In middle of China, Henan province also want to have some project to launch there. If we say that I do not have the very clear database for this to calculate, so I cannot give you the number by my imagination.
All right, thank you. With a significant amount of overcapacity you are showing, can all the producers survive the low prices that will result?
No. You can, here is an example. Many years ago, we experienced of glyphosate price have very strong, was very strong to $13 per kg, you know, in 2009, 2008. And in 2009, the price dropped very quickly. At that time, you know, we have many manufacturers of glyphosate. And currently, we just have few, you know, around 10 or less than 10 suppliers, seven, I forgot about the number, around 7 key suppliers inside of China. So you can see that it's shrinking very, very big numbers. So currently, glufosinate, like glufosinate suppliers inside of China, without any phosphorus resources and upstream resources, they cannot survive. So if you only produce glufosinate to buy to all sorts of raw material, you cannot survive. You will not have any advantages about the cost.
Okay, all right. How backward integrated are Chinese companies? And would it be safe to presume that most of the companies would be backward integrated as a key starting material level, at a key starting material level?
Actually, every companies currently, for some key suppliers, I mean, I want to have the backward integration. Everyone. So everyone want to control the upstream, because we have the case, like some one list very big company inside of China. They produce AIs in all sorts of intermediate, and that intermediate company be merged by another company. So they will not supply them anymore. So what they can do, they have to invest on their by themselves. So sometimes they, for example, these companies want to invest, or some they merge, they purchase the intermediate suppliers. Like for some near all patent active ingredient, some key intermediates is very difficult to produce. They need some fluorination, you know, in upstream. So with this kind of technology, with high yield or good process, it is very hard to find. If someone arises very quickly, some big companies want to invest in them or control the upstream. So you can say that every companies are backward integration.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick, there's a question on here about if your presentation will be shared, just to let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded and the presentation will be shared, as well as a blog with any questions that we don't answer in this discussion right now. So just letting everybody know that. Next question is, what about the biochemicals trend in China?
Biochemicals, it's just a start just started inside of China. Some like Li Min, they have the ambitions, to develop biotechnologies in as well. The biotechnology, we currently use the biotechnology to produce L-glufosinate, from glufosinate. But in future, like a biopesticide or biochemicals will be another trend for Chinese to consider. But the difficult thing is the Chinese suppliers currently, they have to follow their key account intentions. Currently their customer structure mainly focus on the key accounts like multinational companies. In the multinational companies, they always choose long tail or some products in maturity period in life cycle to outsource from China. For the bio products or biochemicals, we need to wait for the multinational companies' actions. When they source some big molecules or some very big volume molecules from China, and I'm sure that there will be some key players to transfer to invest on the biochemicals production inside of China. But right now, it's just started, to Chinese figure out that we use the biotechnology to transfer from glufosinate to L-glufosinate, it could save a lot of cost. And another thing is, I think we need to pay attention at neutrality, carbon neutrality. So currently, carbon neutrality is very important. In the bio thing, they need electricity. So the China currently is persuading the Chinese suppliers, government or multinationals also persuade them to transfer from the high energy consumption to the green energy. So it is also a new trend. I think it's also will be good for the bioproducts development inside of China.
I just had a follow-up question to that. Are Chinese companies looking to partner with biological companies? Like if, you've got these smaller biological companies who have a product, do you think Chinese companies would be open to working with those if they wanted to partner?
Well, it depends on the business you talk about. If you want, you mentioned that some biological companies want to get into China market. I think some Chinese biological companies are very good at it. Like Qianjiang Shenhua, they have very big capacity in their plant, and they have the electricity support, so it's good partners to produce inside of China. If you say that if some companies like biological companies want to outsource from China, I think Qianjiang Shenhua would be a good choice in this kind of company. But if you say that some company want to get into Chinese market, I think it's a little bit early. The Chinese choose the pesticide in China market. It's a high competition market. So if you go to this market, you have to face a lot of challenges in the we also have the multinational companies products here, and they use the patented active ingredient to play as a generic strategy. Sometimes they lower their price and give it a lot of pressure on Adama or UPL inside of China. So the competition is very, very fierce. So it takes time to follow the national trend. You have to get the government, wait for the government support. So like Brazil, you have the government support, the farmers will adopt, and so it would be the good time. But preparing will be a good start.
Okay, great. What is the expectation regarding Chinese local demand for ag chems? This overcapacity will be addressed in the future, or or will local suppliers try to find demand out of China? Do you want me to read that question again?
You mean what kind of demand?
Yeah, so what's the expectation regarding Chinese local demand for ag chems, and will the overcapacity be addressed in the future, or will local suppliers try to find demand outside of China?
Uh, what kind of products you mentioned? I'm sorry.
They didn't mention any specific, but I'm thinking whatever's in oversupply right now, is that the glyphosate or glufosinate? Are those the products that are um, in oversupply right now?
Um, so you mean that is there any products oversupply to after oversupply they will go overseas, right?
Yeah, are they going to handle it locally or are they going to handle it overseas? How do they plan to get rid of the product?
Yeah. Mm, I think currently they have to go overseas, but for strategies of the Chinese suppliers choose is different, will be different, and because it depends on the company's strategy, what kind of their boss can make the final decisions. Um, but for the manufacturing, I think to manufacture overseas, someone choose, but someone cannot move very easily. Like Chinese inside of China, the Chinese people do not be familiar about the globalization or management. The most important thing is that we do not have enough human resources to understand the global operation. You know, we can the Chinese team and the Chinese boss need education. They need more information, or their team have to be powered up, you know, in future, and then they can choose. Like Japanese companies, they first they need to have the global people in hand, global Japanese people in hand, and then they send them outside to manage the overseas capacities or overseas team, and they can also need time to learn. So it's still take a long time.
All right. Well, we are about out of time right now. And so if we didn't get to your question, we will be taking those questions and emailing those to David, who will answer those, and then we'll post them in a blog in about 2 weeks. So we will get your questions answered. And then you'll also have availability to this recording of this webinar, as well as the PowerPoint. So David, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and present. It was wonderful information. So thank you very much, and thank you all for attending. We're loving to having you as part of this community. So, all right. Well, thanks
Yeah, thank you,
everyone.
Ray.
Okay, bye-bye.